You're listening to Talking Sport. Here's what's to come on today's show. Another head-scratcher for Pep Guardiola as he enters uncharted territory following Man City's inexplicable loss in the Manchester derby.
I'm the boss, I'm the manager, and I'm not good enough. It's as simple as that.
Elsewhere in the Premier League, there were two managerial casualties this weekend as Southampton's Russell Martin follows Wolves boss Gary O'Neill out the door after the Saints faced a crushing 5-0 defeat at home to Spurs.
I understand the frustration, also understand the modern world and football and what it is and what it's about.
Sports Personality of the Year returns tomorrow evening, featuring a star-studded Olympic lineup as 800-metre gold medalist Keely Hodgkinson appears as the frontrunner, alongside teenage darts sensation Luke Littler. Speaking of darts, the Ali Pali returned to full voice yesterday as the capital prepares for another period of festive darts action.
You're listening to Talking Sport with myself, Alid Hopkins, with me, Will Richards, as usual. We're with you for the next half an hour. Coming up on the show, we'll be reacting to this weekend's Premier League action. Manchester United, a last-minute double to extend Manchester City's miserable run. 5-star Spurs send in Russell Martin, packing from Southampton. Gary O'Neill also out the door at Molineux after more late drama.
We'll also be looking at tomorrow's night's Sports Personality of the Year with 6 nominees up for that award. It's also the most wonderful time of the year as we get nearer to Christmas, which means there's only one thing, and the darts is back at the Palace. The World Darts Championship got underway last night with defending champion Luke Humphries cruising into the third round, and we'll also be looking ahead to the Fury-Usyk rematch this Saturday as well. That's all coming up for you on the show this afternoon.
Talking sport, let's talk it out.
We've got to start, Will, with yesterday's Manchester derby at the Etihad. Amad Diallo's late strike gave Ruben Amorim his second win against Pep Guardiola with two different teams. Has he got his number, Will?
I think he definitely has. He's done it with Sporting. He's now come over to England with United as well and got a very similar scoreline result as well. 2 wins for Amorim, none for Guardiola. I think everyone would be saying stop the count if it was a boxing match, to be honest, Alid. With the two performances, I think with Sporting, it was very different. City completely dominated the game. I think with United, it was a completely change of tactics. Even though there were some similarities in the game, City were both 1-0 up at half-time as well. But in both games, just completely capitulated. And obviously with the United game, that's all thanks to Amad Diallo.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely sensational yesterday, wasn't he? I mean, it was a decent enough United performance. I thought the back three, the back four, whatever they're made up of, whatever formation you want to call it, were solid as well. Martinez, Maguire played well, but it was Amad Diallo's derby, wasn't it? And he won the penalty, then he goes and scores the goal at the end. He was absolutely fantastic.
He was, and I think if you look at that. Specifically, I think if you look at the challenge, I think at Núñez it was on Diallo to give away the penalty. No matter what you can say about the form Manchester City have been in, no matter what Guardiola does, when you have moments like that from your players, there's nothing as a manager you can do about it. And I think, yes, maybe Guardiola's coming under some sort of criticism, maybe a little bit unfairly as well, because it is the first time since he's taken over, really, that City have been on this run of form. But when your players are making rash decisions like that as well, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean the consistency has gone from it. They're like a machine at times, aren't they, Man City? I mean, and they are human now. They are making those kind of silly mistakes, as you said. It was a really rash challenge. A lovely bit of play by Diallo just to cut back inside the box. Really clever play. But it was a rash challenge, wasn't it, at that stage of the game? And that's something we're really not used to with these City players, is making silly challenges. But reading off this stat line, when City have won 1 Premier League game since October, is this a blip or are there more serious problems here?
Well, I think it's a bit of both, Aled. I think, yes, it is a blip. As you say, 1 win in 11 games, and they have the worst points per game ratio since November the 1st. They've conceded 21 goals in the last 11 games. Compare that to the start of this season, where they only conceded 11 goals in the first 14 games in all competitions. It's a massive, massive change of fortunes. I think, yes, the injury to Rodri has a major impact on that. But I think there's also a load of other reasons as well. You look at De Bruyne, Kovacic, Walker and Gundogan, all ageing players. You've got players who are underperforming. Phil Foden, remember how good he was last season, scored 27 goals and got 12 assists. Compare that to this season. In the Prem, he only has 1 assist and hasn't scored yet this season. Grealish, on the other hand, hasn't scored since December the 16th, 2023. So you have all of these problems, I think, all combining at once. And no matter how good you are as a manager, Guardiola, arguably the best manager of all time, when you have everything like this going on, there isn't really too much I think you can actually do about it. But is it a blip? Yes. But I think it's also a longer term problem as well.
Yeah, tough time for City, but brilliant result for United nonetheless. But Spurs yesterday as well, 5-0 yesterday against Southampton, 5 goals in the first half. Absolutely fantastic, blew Southampton away. And Southampton sacking Russell Martin, they're bottom of the league, 5 points and the lowest scorers in the league. When I looked at this game yesterday, Will, I saw these two managers, they've both struggled of late. And they're both hell-bent on playing the way that they want to play. There is no plan B at all with them. Ange has been under pressure himself, a poor performance against Rangers in the week. And you could say that this is a turning point for Spurs, but they're so inconsistent, aren't they? And the stubbornness that they both show has ended up costing Russell Martin his job. And I fear it could go the way for Ange if he can't find some consistency.
Yeah, I think you could definitely say that as well. For Postecoglou, he came into Tottenham and won a load of plaudits last season for the way his team was playing. This season, I think he's been found out a little bit. And the same goes for Russell Martin as well. Obviously, now he's lost his job. But you look on the other hand, Vincent Kompany last season at Burnley tried to stick to his principles, was adamant in playing the same way, and now he's the manager of Bayern Munich. So maybe from a personal point of view, it's, do you know what? These are my principles and this is the way I want to do it. Even if I don't get results, I may get a better job off the end of it. But I think, if you look at your plan A and plan B as a manager, when it's so clear that things aren't working, you have to change it. Otherwise, your job's on the line, and we know what a cutthroat industry the football world is.
Yeah, somehow I don't think we'll be seeing Russell Martin turning up at Bayern Munich or anything anytime soon. But I mean, you're totally right. They've been shocking, haven't they, mate? I mean, I think they were a bit lucky to get out of the Championship last year, if I'm being completely honest. They were really inconsistent. They looked shaky at the back last season, and I think that Leeds were a better team than them last season. So if we carry on from that. Looking at the odds, Danny Rule is even money at the moment, and we have heard in the last hour or so that there is talks with Danny Rule with Sheffield Wednesday for him to take over at Southampton.
That is correct. I think the compensation is believed to be around £3 to £4 million, and that won't be a problem at all for Southampton. And I think Danny Rule, his side as well, want to get that deal done, which I think is understandable. He had growing frustrations at Sheffield Wednesday, so going over to Southampton obviously is a move up. But can he change Southampton's fortunes? I think it's going to be very, very hard to do that. I think they are goners this season. They will be going down. The defensive performances from them are just shocking, really. If I read some of these stats, they've got 36 goals conceded. That's the second most this season. Only 4 other teams, including the Derby team in 2007 and 8 and the Sheffield United team last season, which conceded the most goals in Premier League history, have had a worse goal difference after 16 Premier League games. And they've also, going forwards, failed to score in 7 out of 16 games as well. So there's problems all over the pitch for Southampton this season.
Yeah, Southampton not the only team looking for a new manager. Wolves also looking for a new one, as Gary O'Neill was sacked after Saturday's loss to Ipswich. Here's what he had to say after the game.
That group was pretty much at maximum today. The subs made a good impact. Everybody gave everything. We played some good stuff, but still managed to find a way to concede 2 terrible, terrible goals against Ipswich, who didn't really do much, to be honest. And they get to leave here again with 3 points. And I have to stand there and explain away 2 terrible, terrible goals. But until we can cope with the basics, which is difficult, as I say, difficult for me to protect the lads from moments like that.
And on the line now, we've got Wolves fan Shenkin Jones. Shenkin, thanks for joining us, mate. How are you doing this afternoon?
All right, lads. Hope everyone's okay.
Yeah, all good, mate. First of all, is this the right decision for Wolves?
Yeah, I think it is the right decision. It should have been a decision made about 4 games ago, I think. I think he's been clinging on a bit too much now. But yeah, definitely the right decision to get him gone. With it, I think it's just a bit too toxic in the dressing room now, and I think he's lost the dressing room. So yeah, definitely the right decision.
And what's gone wrong this season, mate? I mean, this time last year, we were saying what a job Gary O'Neill had done. What's changed there at Wolves, do you think?
Yeah, it's a tough one. What's gone wrong this season? I think selling your best players year on year, I think is going to have an effect. We've sold Ruben Neves, Jota. More recently, then we've gotten rid of Mateus Nunes and Pedro Neto. So selling year on year and not really replacing it with any quality is one of the things that's gone wrong. Injuries hasn't helped in certain areas. I think the defence, 2 centre halves have changed. I think every single game. So no consistency with the defence. That's all in there. But yeah, I think it's just as a knock-on effect of just keep on selling players but not really replacing them with any quality. If you're gonna get rid of your best players, then you should really replace them. I think the only one that got replaced was maybe Cunha came in for Pedro Neto, but other than that, really, no one else has really been replaced with any sort of quality, especially in the back line. If you think back to, the days of Connor Cody and Willy Bolly and so on, the centre halves we have now are nowhere near that quality. So yeah, it's a tough one. In terms of the job that Gary O'Neill had done, he's got some memorable wins against West Brom in the Cup. Couple of wins against Man City and Chelsea and Spurs, etc. But I think the time was right to get him gone now. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's always the manager always gets a good little year out of everyone, but it's what you do after that year is the most important. So I think that's what's changed as well. Is he starts losing a bit of the dressing room, and things go a bit pear-shaped then.
Yeah, and it seems like this guy Vitor Pereira is the man rumoured to be lined up. I don't know much about him. Do you know much about him? And is he going to be the right man?
Yeah, I have heard that it's Vitor Pereira. Don't know much about him, if I'm being completely honest with you. But the Portuguese connection is massive in Wolves. So that's one good thing, I guess. Nelson Semedo's just been named captain, so a Portuguese captain as well as this Vitor Pereira that's coming in. I know that he won 2 league titles in 2 years at Porto. And literally, that's all I know. But is he going to be the right man? Again, I have no idea. Hopefully he is. But yeah, we shall see.
So with that being said then, and Pereira coming in, I'll ask the all-important question. Can you stay up this season?
Good question. Can we stay up this season? I'm going to say no. I think it's too far gone, if I'm being completely honest with you. In terms of the quality of the squad, I think we have absolutely more than enough quality in individuals to keep us up. If we keep Cunha for the season, Ait-Nouri needs to get back firing. You've got João Gomez and Andre and Lamina in midfield. I really like the striker Strand Larsen as well. So you've got good individuals there, but I think it's a bit too far gone now. I think it might be curtains are raised with Wolves, and we restart in the Championship again, and get a bit of joy back into the fans, which is a bit toxic at the moment. But yeah, I think it's too far gone, if I'm being completely honest.
I guess we'll find the answers to those questions out very soon. But thanks for the call, mate. Really good
man,
hearing
mate.
from you. Talking about Wolves then, just quickly, Vitor Pereira, been in charge of Al Shabab since February over in the Saudi Pro League. We've seen what Nuno can do at Forest. Do you think he can have a similar effect on Wolves, or do you think, as Shank said, they're long gone?
I mean, I don't know much about him. I'll be totally honest, but off the top of my head, Will, this is a baffling appointment to me. I mean, when you've got somebody out there like Mark Robbins, you've got Graham Potter. He's not been. It's important to say he's not been announced yet, but it's strongly rumoured. When you got somebody like Mark Robbins, done an absolutely brilliant job at Coventry. Graham Potter's out there. Like, there's other managers out there who are proven in English football that would suit Wolves well, I think, as well. He did mention there the Portuguese connection, so obviously that's got a lot to do with it. But for me, I'm not sure how much. He finished 8th in the Saudi Pro League, I think it was.
He's sixth this season as well.
I'm not sure he's going to be the man to keep up Wolves, but we'll see.
That is the challenge. But switching ends of the Premier League table, Chelsea, on the other hand, have been in the form of their life, with many suggesting a surprise Premier League title win may be on the cards. Talking Sport news reporter Cam Wright joins us in the studio now to tell us, from the fans' perspective, how just how good has this season been.
Afternoon, fellas. How you doing? Enzo Maresca, he has changed my life. I love this man to death.
Would you say you love him more than your girlfriend? Are we going that far?
I think she might be listening, so I'll say no.
Also, so what has changed about Chelsea this season? Because I think you can obviously look back at the last 2 years. You could probably call it Chelsea's banter era, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what is it so specifically about Maresca coming in, changing formation, players that's just had this, outstanding success?
I think when you look at this season compared to last season under Poch, the biggest difference I can see, he's getting the best out of all of the players in that squad, not just relying on Cole Palmer, which we saw so often last season. Players like Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, maybe been our player of the season, Madueke, Jackson, they're all on top form. And those players are helping out Palmer to even out that team. Last season, it was just so reliant on one player, and I think that's been the big difference.
Yeah, it's a big decision, wasn't it, in the summer to get rid of Poch and to bring in Enzo Maresca, who had only had one season as a manager, obviously with Leicester in the Championship, getting that promoted last season, but he didn't. He did well, Maresca. They started brilliantly, but they really tailed off with that team in the end. But he seems to have just got the best out of Cole Palmer, especially. He's just. I was going to say he's been on fire, but he's actually been ice cold. I mean, how far can Cole Palmer go? I mean, we've got Jude Bellingham in the England squad. Obviously gone to Real Madrid now, and the likes of Foden, fantastic players in that England squad. How far can Cole Palmer go?
Look, honestly, last season, I know I'm biased as a Chelsea fan. He should have won Player of the Season last year.
I don't really think that's something that can be debated, to be honest. I think his impact in his first season, as you said, was remarkable, and you've seen what he did with England at the Euros as well.
Absolutely, that goal in the final. I've never celebrated so hard for a goal in my life.
It was a good 5 minutes while it lasted. I've got to cry now.
I mean, going back on Maresca, as we said, it's a big call by the Chelsea hierarchy, who, since they've come in, taken over from Abramovich, haven't got a lot of things right, have they? And this seems to be working out well. Obviously, Liverpool leading the way at the minute. Can you mount a title charge against Liverpool?
No. At the minute, it's ridiculous to say Chelsea are realistically in this title race. I'd love to sit here and say Chelsea are, but no matter how well we're playing at the minute, it's just unrealistic. We're not at that level yet. This team is not there yet.
Do you think that's because you're playing, do you think the Conference League maybe has something to do with that, or not really? Because looking at the table, you're only 2 points behind Liverpool. Yes, you've played a game extra, but you've won your last 5 games. Like you say, you're not going to mount a challenge, but I think anything's possible this season, especially with the likes of Arsenal, City, United all falling way behind. I mean, for me personally, I think it's possible. So I'm surprised to hear you say that, to be honest.
Well, you're right. It has been an absolutely wild season so far. But I think the main factor that I say we're not is we're just not strong enough defensively. And when you look at that Liverpool defence, 4 out of 5 of their back 5 is a title-winning defence. And Chelsea's, we're the youngest squad in the Premier League. There's just too much inexperience in that back 5 for me. I just don't think it's a title-winning defence yet.
See, this is where Liverpool fans are different to Chelsea fans. If Liverpool were bottom of the league, you'd still have Liverpool fans coming on going, we're still fighting for the title, we're still going to win this league. We bring Cam on as a Chelsea fan. They're only 2 points off the top, and he says we've got no chance. So, Cam, thank you very much indeed. We'll take your cynicism out the door with you.
Thanks a lot for having me.
We're moving on to cover Sports Personality of the Year, which takes place tomorrow night, with nominees Jude Bellingham, Keely Hodgkinson, Luke Littler, Joe Root, Dame Sarah Story, and Alex Yee will be having their achievements celebrated tomorrow night. Keely Hodgkinson, the 800-metre Olympic champion, is the bookies' favourite.
I disagree with that.
Well, you can't argue with the bookies, Will.
No, I am.
She's 2 to 7.
No,
she's 2 to 7 odds on.
They're wrong. If it's not Luke Littler, then I don't know. It's not good enough. He's, for me, his first full season in the darting world. How many titles has he won? He's only 17.
Well, you interrupted my link there. The standout name on that list, Will, is 17-year-old Luke Littler, who burst onto the scene this time last year, reaching the final of the World Darts Championship as a 16-year-old. In the end, he did end up losing to Luke Humphreys, but since then, what an unbelievable year he's had, winning the Premier League, the Grand Slam of darts, and he's won over £1 million in prize money along the way. I mean, what a year he's had, Will.
What a year. I guarantee he's definitely packed some Team of the Years on FIFA as well. £1 million straight on FIFA points, as he said. But he has to win it for me. I don't think there's any debate. For me, he's the number one. He has to win it. What he's done and achieved this year, I think it is. You can't argue against it. For someone so young to go and do what he's done, he's completely reshaped the world of darts. It's got so much more media attention now. It's so much bigger than what it was 1 year ago, and that's all thanks to Luke Littler. I just don't see how, as a sport personality as well, what he does on camera, off camera. I think he has to win it. He has to win it. And if he doesn't, it will be the biggest sporting upset since Mike Tyson's defeat to Buster Douglas. There you go, I've said it.
Well, I think Keely Hodgkinson will have something to say about that, Will. I mean, this summer in Paris, she finally put to bed the disappointments of previous games, bagging an Olympic gold medal. Some of the other names on this route, Joe Root. Hang on, you've had your time. You
won one race.
You've had your time. Let me come at you with this. Joe Root surpassing Sir Alistair Cook as England's leading run scorer in Test cricket. He's now moved up to 5th in the all-time list. Dame Sarah Story, Great Britain's most successful Paralympian, added 2 more goals to her incredible collection. She now has 30 Paralympic medals, including 19 goals. Absolutely incredible. Jude Bellingham, we all know what he's about. And Alex Yee becoming the world and Olympic triathlon champion. And in Paris, he managed to help Great Britain win a bronze in the mixed relay as well. But we have talked about darts. We've got to talk about the darts. It started last night.
100%.
And we've got our darts expert in the studio with us, Dan Thomas. Dan, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you for having me.
Well, Will's nailed his colour to the mast there about who he thinks is going to win Sports Personality. And Luke Littler, let's talk a little bit about him. I mean, what a year he's had in the world of darts. Obviously, coming off that amazing World Championships last year, completely transforming the sport. Everyone in the UK was hooked on the darts, wasn't they, this time last year? Can he win it this year?
It's a tough one, to be honest with you. Like, the standard of darts has gone absolutely ridiculously, like, through the roof in the last year. Everyone just, like, are so good now. You try, you practice at home and you think, oh, I'm nearly there. But no, they're so much better than what they used to be. And if you think have Phil Taylor in his prime would play now, he'd never win those 16 world titles. Not a chance, right? I'm glad Luke Littler's had the year he's had. He's done. A lot of people are thinking, is he going to crumble under the pressure?
But he hasn't. He hasn't.
No,
he showed it time and time
exactly,
again.
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad he's done well. I think the fact he's won the Premier League as well, which is unbelievable. So, I think he will win. I don't want him to win, but I think he'll win.
Do you think he can keep that consistency? Obviously, with the year he's had, do you not think it's maybe just a one year wonder, or do you think he has the potential to see that through and then eventually beat Phil Taylor's 16 titles?
Sorry, Dan. Just before do you know what impresses me the most with him is obviously he burst on the scene last year. He wasn't much never had much attention. Suddenly, all of this attention, and you can see him in interviews being a bit shy. Once he gets on that stage, mate, his eyes just go. You can see he's a competitor. He's absolutely locked in on that dartboard, and something just changes in him. That's the most impressive thing about him.
Yeah, he just loves the game, doesn't he? But because he's so young, he's got no responsibilities, so he can just go up on that stage, and he's won over $1 million in prize money this year. And for a 17-year-old, that's absolutely ridiculous, you know. And
completely life-changing now.
Yeah, and he's got no worries. He loses a game of darts, he'll be like, I'll just go home and play a bit of FIFA. As in, it's kind of that, like, relaxed mood, and there's not much pressure. A lot of people thought as well, all the media on him will, make him crack. But no, as in, I really hope he does well this year. And I think he will, to be fair.
And we've got to talk about the other Luke, the defending champion, Luke Humphreys. He won last night 3-0, impressive fashion. He's into the third round. What do you make of his performance last night and his chances to repeat his title? Yeah,
he averaged 90 last night. I wasn't too convinced. He obviously won convincingly, didn't lose a leg, won 9-0 in legs. And there was some moments, aspects of the game I thought, wow, okay, he's going to be hard to beat. And, I'll find it hard to find someone who could beat him. He'll have to step up his game the next round after Christmas. But yeah, it'll be between him and Luke Littler, I think. It won't be much competition.
Repeat of last year's final.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Who are your other contenders then, and perhaps a dark horse as well?
As a Welshman, I'd love to see Geraint Price up there, or Johnny Clayton. They both have had a bad year, as in it's a shame really. None of them have performed that well.
I mean, Price is in action this evening as well.
He's got Keem Barry, Keem Barry played last night against Kim Hybricks, and I thought Keem Barry was really good, as in he hit 7 180s, and I don't know, he just looked, I was worried while watching him. I was like, oh no, this is not good. So Geraint Price, maybe Luke Littler, obviously. Van Gerwen, it's a strange one.
He's always in the mix. He's another one who can just turn it on.
You can never write out Van Gerwen, especially with what he's done as well.
Who's your dark horse, Dan? Who do you think is perhaps not fancied by the bookies, but could, or maybe not to win it, but make a run like Luke Littler did last year?
My one, I think Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson.
I don't know. He always turns out he's had a consistent year, in fairness to him. And he's been doing all right on the floor tournament. So, yeah, I think hopefully... Well, I'm not saying hopefully he wins it, but I reckon he'll have a good little run.
I think the darts definitely... If you don't watch it, if you're not into it, change that this year. You'll be so surprised. For me, it is one of the biggest and best events of the Christmas period. I look 100%. Forward to it all year round. As soon as it ends... I don't enjoy Christmas for the presents, the turkey. I enjoy it for the darts. But... as we say, this Saturday as well, there is another huge event going on in the world of sport. Over in Saudi Arabia, we have the Fury-Usyk rematch. That is one for the ages. The tale of the tape first round. Fury, obviously, a bit of controversy. People saying he was on top in the first couple of rounds. People saying Usyk was. I think... Fury then definitely took advantage of the fight, but then it turned into that 9th round where he got knocked down and people saying, the fight should have been stopped then, and in the end, Usyk won by split decision. Adam, what are we thinking for this second fight? How do you think it's going to go?
Well, I mean, Tyson Fury's obviously, he's out for revenge, isn't he? And it was an absolutely fantastic performance from Usyk last time. I don't know, mate. I can't split this one. I think you can never go against either of them, really, because Usyk's such a warrior, but we know how powerful Tyson Fury is, and he can just absolutely wear you down. He's got that knockout punch in him. He's got the size advantage, obviously. That's
what he said. He said recently, I always get the knockout in the rematch. He cites to McDermott, Wilder as well. This one, I think, it can go either way. I don't think you can rule Fury out. I don't think you can rule Usyk out. I think maybe for the first time in a long time, though, that Tyson Fury is going into this fight not being the favourite. I think Usyk just has that ability, the ring IQ, I should say, of Usyk is arguably the best the boxing has ever seen.
He's so experienced, isn't he? And he'll need to use all of that against Fury's power and the size difference. But as we said, he's so experienced. He's so smart, and he's a warrior. He will not give up until he's knocked out, or he will keep going. And it's going to be an absolutely amazing fight. Cannot wait to watch it. you know your boxing a little bit more than me. How do you see that one go, and make a prediction?
I think it will be Usyk again, but I don't think it will be a knockout. I think it will go right down to the wire. I think all Fury has to do is just connect with more punches. It was something he didn't really do in the first fight. This fight, he has to make sure he lands those power punches. And if he can do that, I think Fury's camp saying he's in the best shape of his life. And then I think he's got a very, very good chance of winning back those belts.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. What a week of sport we have coming up, as we've discussed, Will. The darts, we've got the Usyk Fury fight. Cannot wait to watch it. That is all we've got time for today. But make sure to check us out on socials, Cardiff Met Sport TV, and we're the radio, obviously, the radio version of that. That is all we've got time for. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again.
Talking sport. Let's talk it out.